Thank you so much. I want to thank you first, Maria, for managing to work with EIF so well, besides the challenge that we face with the pandemic, and also my colleague Pilar Castillo, because we managed actually to top the digital policy in the parliament. And I think this is because we also have the understanding and we connect to what's happening in the market, what citizens are scared of or worried about. At the same time, we try to translate that into politics and legislation. So we have excellent speakers to discuss, I think, a bit more on the different sides, on the technical and operational, how the commission is going to work. And actually, they've been working quite hard during the summer, that we have I think an analysis of the ethics that we need to understand, and all the social challenges that we might face. And of course, we do have the geopolitics of new technologies, because after the pandemic, we realized that these global challenges that we face, we can only respond to them again globally with, of course, decentralizing the solutions. I see the info and the biotech now are being accelerated. This pandemic has been a catalyst, and we have to invest both in software and hardware in order to achieve the maximum capacity and capability to use these technologies to produce very fast treatments, because we will use the proper data in order to understand the pattern of a disease. And I want to start with an example of the problems we face. So, you know, ECDC is the European Center for Disease Control and Prevention of the European Union, actually having in their hands 80% of the data of what happened with COVID from EU. The problem that they had was, like, we didn't have common standards. So the data they gathered, they were completely different. All the data sets, they could not be combined. There was like not enough time to be able to set the standards from the beginning. They had data from the media, different kinds of sources. So in the end, these data are not super useful for scientists. And this is why actually it's taking too long to understand how this disease is working. Having also supercomputers in place would mean that we would have the capacity to get more data and move more fast into understanding the solutions with different metrics, with plenty of metrics, like environmental, if we had health, chronic diseases, and also even the DNA of each person that managed to overcome or not this disease. So what we're trying to do now in 2020 and 2021 would be to develop a strategy, a holistic strategy on AI, and you saw the white paper, and how we can set ethics by law and by design. Secondly, we have to decide about the data governance, which actually means, and I like the Commission's approach, high risk and low risk. High risk, we need extra safety guards, because we don't want access to our private data. We definitely need SMEs and startups to have access to low risk data in order to create like innovative solutions and create like a better ecosystem where competition can actually work, and we don't just have the big ones taking over. And finally, we have digital finance, because cross-border payments was also a big challenge during this pandemic. We saw the problems with supply chains. We saw the problems inside our digital single market. We still have shortcomings to manage to overcome, and barriers to remove. And of course, we have the industrial strategy. This means we have to definitely invest into hardware made in EU. So these are the main challenges, trying on the same time, as I said, to go and follow the principles and the fundamental values that EU has. So we cannot compromise privacy to have safety. If you remember the discussion about contact tracing apps, we saw that people were ready to give up their privacy in order to remain safe. So the location, their health data, everything. I think that our responsibility as European politicians, and also what differentiates us from US and China, is that we don't want to compromise privacy in order to have safety. We can have both. GDPR was our compass to the right direction. So in the end, I've started under STOA, the Science and Technology Committee, the Center for AI. So we're going to try to work with OECD, IEEE, even UN to develop data standards, because imagine if we have access to good quality of data, not just in the EU, but beyond. I think basically we're following what G20 was trying to do, and we don't want to compromise. Actually, we want to be the ones leading by, as I said, by our European values, how we want to design our future and what are the by default aspects that we want to have inside the algorithm. So an algorithm is just an equation where you decide the metrics and you decide how much data you will put there. So the quality is very important in order to have a solution to a problem. But if you manage to achieve super intelligence, then you might even have an automation of the decision-making process. So you understand that we have definitely to avoid having harmful AI getting out of control, and this is what people are worried mostly about. So finally, we are ready to invest a lot. I worked on InvestEU file, also on AI infrastructure, and I think we have a very good understanding of what we have to overcome. As I said, we have to harmonize our market, and we have to develop furthermore the ecosystem with digital innovation hubs, skills for everyone, and to attract also talent. And this would help us also create jobs. And we need to be able to move really fast because this is again a global race, and what we want to achieve is to influence and impact with quality. So I think these are the things we also discuss with our excellent speakers. Very strong industries, quite controversial discussion the last time, and with an excellent world-class thinker, I would say, Zach Bugin. So Maria Rosa, I don't want to take more of the time because I think we can have a very interesting Q&A to follow.